Hello and welcome. My name's Campbell. This is Autodidactic Channel. Hope you're having a fantastic day. And of course, autodidactic means to be self-educated, and we all need to be self-educated because if we are not, the only choice we have left is to believe what other people tell us. And of course, when it comes to history, most of what they are telling us is just a story. It's all made up. And that's what we're going to look into today. So this is a book on Tartaria that we're going to have a look at. As you can see, it is China and Grand Tartary. Now, if you go to, Wikipedia or any of the mainstream history sites, they will tell you that Grand Tartary or Tartaria did not exist as a country. It was just a region that had, nomadic people walking through it. But here we have a book. This is from, now it says 1728, I think was a published date, but a lot of these pictures were actually from 1670. So we're in the 1600s. So as you can see here, the book was published 1728, and then we have a map and lots of pictures down here, all from 1670. Now these are drawings, of course, being from the 1600s, and there is some text that goes along from 1728. So it looks like, they did the exploration and all the pictures, and then took 50 years to get it published, I guess. So yeah, all the pictures that we're going to look at are from 1670. So let's get into it. Okay, so to start with, we just have a map. This is just showing China, Chinese Tartary. And down here we have, the pictures they always love to give us. We have, looks like the Europeans coming in, and I'm guessing these are the Chinese. Look, has he got a braid in his hair? Because they don't look that Chinese, what we're told is Chinese, do they? Over here, we've got some sort of Persian looking or Tartarian looking people, and some more Chinese, I'm guessing. And then up here, we've got funny covered carriages going into a cave. So it's pretty interesting. So this is the map of China. And here we just have a more detailed map. And this again, 1670, you can see this is China. Got a picture here. Some, this is what we're told Chinese people look like. And look in the background, a big walled city with big, spires and temples and pagodas and things. And it looks like they even go up into the hillside. All right, so this is Peking, the capital of China, 1670. And look what we get. We've got some people here showing the picture. All the, the townspeople, this looks like it's a dried up canal, doesn't it? So, they're using it as a road. It's a depression, so I'm not sure what's going on there. And of course, a walled city. Now these walls and, these bits on top, I'm not sure what they're called. We see these everywhere, all across the realm, just absolutely everywhere on all the continents. It's all the same construction, the wall construction, and they find them underground everywhere as well. And of course, we've got towers, which we see everywhere, these big, we're sort of told that this is all they were building, right? These wooden one-story huts. But look what we have, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 stories that we can see. This is at least 3 stories, so the story they give us isn't quite correct. This is called Costume Figures with the View of Honan. So Honan is the city in the background. And again, same story, right? The big walled cities, the pagodas, the tech. You can see sort of tech hanging off the side of this. Big masonry buildings everywhere, domes, always the same story. And here we have the Chinese with his very cool, very antiquity looking hat. And apart from this really bad moustache, facial hair thing they've done, which, does look Chinese, the rest of his face doesn't look that Chinese, does it? Which is interesting because, as we know, they have found many, many mummies all throughout China, giants, in fact, and they've all got red hair and they're Caucasians. They're not the Asians. So, we really don't know, how much they've played with populations, shall we say, and move them around and all this kind of stuff. And because it only takes, a generation, if you're talking orphans, to create a whole new culture, right? And to get them to believe that the culture that they're in is the culture of their ancestors. But we don't know that because, again, this lady doesn't look that, in brackets Chinese, what we're told Chinese is. The clothes certainly, but not the people in them. This is Jinghai, the single village in China. Up here it says Jinghai. I'm not sure if that's Shanghai. Fairly similar. And as you see, we've got a big river here, Chinese junk. Parasols. They love their parasols in China, don't they? And as you can see, it's just people on horseback in the muddy roads. They're not paved, but in the background, the same story. Just these big built-up multi-story walled cities. And look at that, even a bit of industry chugging away back in 1670. And this is Kuching, another village in China. And wow, this one's going off. Obviously a port city. We've got junks everywhere and different types of boats. I've got is that a camel? Must be a camel, a humpless camel, or a very large llama. And again, the same thing, just people wandering about, not much tech, no paved roads, lots of parasols. The person who drew this likes to draw their birds as well, I'm noticing. Lots of flocks of birds around. But in the background, of course, same old story, right? Just these big built-up masonry buildings in 1670 in China. Here's another one. This is Tianjin Way. Tianjin Way in China. And again, you can see what they've done with the spelling. We know about spells. China's got an E on it. And even this you can see is Tianjin Way. And up here, whoops, it's spelled Tianjinwei. So completely differently. Just change it. Why not? And again, just the same story, right? These big buildings, big masonry, brick, stone buildings, built, with technology that we don't see in the rest of, the landscape here. And all this just looks kind of washed out and dug out a bit. Got people strolling along, but, we've got these nice finished buildings in the background, and at the front, right on the docks, next to the water, it's just mud. Okay, now we have Zhansu in China. And again, so this, the picture we're seeing here this is China in the 1670s, and the whole place is covered in cities, in walled cities, and these walls are huge. They go for kilometers. They're normally like, sort of 3 or more feet thick. Like huge amounts of, materials needed to build them, massive amounts of work. And that's just the wall. That's without talking about any of the buildings. And these are all over China. So who built them all? This massive amount of work, but all we see is just these peasant types just wandering around, looking lost. Doesn't look like it's their cities, does it? All right, now we have Tongchen So obviously we're still in China, Chinese Tartary, and same thing, always the same, right? These massive walls, massive, antiquity looking buildings with all all the architecture, the way they build them, it's literally the hardest way you could build things. So they were doing this, eat that what this wasn't hard for them, whoever built this. There's no way they would have, built this construction all across the realm, the same stuff, if it was difficult. So clearly whoever built this knew what they were doing, but it wasn't these people sitting on the shore with fishing poles, right? And again, we just get this finished city, and then outside it, it's just this muddy, sort of washed up thing. We've got a road here, but it's not paved or anything. Don't know where that goes, into the water somewhere. And of course, this bridge, right? Look at this bridge. It's just wood and these are just trees. It's not even milled wood, right? And this is supposed to be built by the same people who built this wall and these buildings. I don't think so. Okay, now we are in Nanjing, and it says the capital villa of the province of Nanquin in China. And here we go. Again at the front, people on horses, basic, tools and weaponry. No tech to speak of. Got another camel here. So obviously there was a few camels around in China. I didn't know there were camels in China. Are there? Are they still there? And here we have Chinese man with his Chinese mustache. So this person looks kind of Chinese. Is kind of. It's hard to know. I mean, they're just drawings, like I said. And look, we have the same thing happening here. We have this. I'm not sure what's going on with the wall there, why it's all up and down, but we have this, massive masonry wall. These multi-story antiquitech buildings, masonry in the background, big towers. Again, more antiquitech. Wow, look at that. And in front of it, mud. And just this sort of, I don't think that's even, might be wood. It's definitely not paved, just sort of mud going down to the dock. Out here, the little bridge, it's just wood, just wooden. So they can construct all this, but they can't construct a nice bridge over the river. So, and this is what we see everywhere. It's just this meld of the old world, and then these wooden, buildings put in, and fences and stuff. And we're supposed to believe that it was all built by the same people. This is Nanjing, or Nanking, as it used to be. Now they're calling it Nanjing. And okay, wow. So we've got our, and you see this in these books all the time. They've always got the people in the foreground. Are these the, those free people who like masonry, going and sort of discovering what's out there after the reset, after the cataclysm, and reclaiming it as their own, and coming in as the rulers and the gods, because they're always there having a look over the landscape. Down here, now this is an old world bridge. This is what I was expecting in the last picture, something like this, made properly out of stone. As you can see, they've got another one here. Of course, they don't connect to any roads, because all the roads are probably under the ground. And then look at this city in the background. Look at the size of this wall. And this is what I was talking about before. They're huge, huge. They go for kilometers and kilometers, and they surround the cities. And then the cities themselves are then full of, like I keep saying, multi-story masonry buildings, right? Towers everywhere. Antiquitech. Okay, this is Donglu. Donglu. So here we've got some traditional kind of boats with their little roofs. What are they, like bamboo kind of roofs? The traditional sails of China. And in the background, we've just got this big walled city again. And look at this hill. Look at this, just whatever was up here, quite a few buildings have been destroyed and smashed. And I mean, it kind of looks like a bit of a, something may have gone on there, built on, up on a big hill. Was it always a hill, or is there something covered up under there? And here we have some tech, some mighty large. These are huge. But again, this is, it looks like it's just wood or bamboo and some stuff on top. I'm not sure what they're for, but I mean, it's definitely not high tech, is it? It's big. It's not high tech. And down here we have this big, this big walled city, and then they can't even build a dock. This boat's just sitting on the shore in the mud. And now we are at An Quing or An Hing. See, they keep changing the spelling. Interesting. And I mean, this is probably the best one yet, right? Look at these buildings. Just mud flooded. You can see the mud flow all over them, different levels everywhere. Look up here. Just all covered and caked in mud. And then the big walled city behind there. And of course, look at this. Pagoda, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 stories high with a nice big Antiquitech coil on the top. In 1670 in China. And of course, the whole front is just, mud flowed. Again, no docks or anything like that. They just pulling their boats up into the mud. That's the best they can do, but apparently they built all this as well. Now we are in a Tongling. Again, just the same picture. Walled cities and just massive mud flows. Look at this house half buried. Right on the shoreline, no docks, nothing like that. But big walled cities in the background. I mean, that's a nice junk too. And it's interesting that the Chinese, had this different style of boat, right? The junk. They were sort of the only ones who were building like that. So it makes me, and they were huge. They were really big ships, biggest, in the realm at the time. And it makes me wonder, were they from the old world as well? Were they just recovered? Because when you look at the tech of this, it kind of matches whoever built this wall, but it doesn't match, these people that are just landing up in the mud on their boats, does it? I mean, if you're going to build this, you need to know how to build docks, deep water docks. And this is what we get, just this juxtaposition in all of these old world photos. All right, now we are at the fun place. We are at Woohoo, Woohoo, or Ufu, as it used to be called. Now it's Woohoo. Same story, right? Again, look at these chunks, the big ones, very well made, but then they can't get together to make a dock, so they can dock them. But up on the hill, we've got sunken temples, but all this sort of mud flow everywhere. But then these massive buildings in the background. It's just the same old story everywhere. And I mean, look, this is a busy harbour. There's no docks anywhere. They're just pulling up on the beach. Okay, this is Yangzhou, I think. Well, it says Yangzhou up here, and on the old book it says Jamsev. I'm probably saying that very badly. Now this one looks a bit cleaner, right? The roads aren't paved. This looking a bit short maybe, and of course no docks. They're right on the water here, but nice big walled city in the background. Got the pagoda with the coil on the top again. But out the front here, these houses, they're masonry, but they look a little bit, you can see there's a bit of mud flow coming around, no paved roads. So the same thing, and they just, docking up in the beach. So it doesn't make sense that they'd be building these massive boats, if they can't dock them. This is Gaoyu or Kajutsi, is that how I say it? And again, it's just the same story all over the old world, isn't it? Mud paths, no paved roads, This would be the remnants of a man-made canal. Okay, then this looks like the ocean here, so a canal, and we see this today, right? These canals right on the water, which is interesting. I guess, you don't want the currents and tides and stuff if you're just using them to move your stuff around. And in the background, of course, going up the hill, more pagodas with coils and a massive walled city. Yeah, this one's got 3 big pagodas in it. And then I don't know what these are. Are they boats in the background, maybe? Masts? Maybe not, don't know, but there. So here's some masts here. They could be, not sure. But I mean, this same thing, right? This high tech in the background and low tech in the foreground. And one more. Now this is Huan or Huane. Gosh. Again, more birds, right? This guy likes birds. This one, you can see it looks like they've got, I don't know, maybe it's just a bit deeper. It's not very level, is it? Kind of looks like they've got a bit of a dock going. Maybe it's just that piece of this mast I was looking at. So still wash out. I mean, look at these mud hills everywhere. We've got some half sunken houses here, a little bit of a grove. This one looks like it's, I mean, and are these buried houses? Look at that. Looks like a roof, doesn't it? Maybe that's what all these are. And then in the background again, Antiquitech, tall pagodas, whatever these are. I'm going to call them ship's masts. Ships out the back, and then just all this. And look at this place. Look at this big coil reaching up to grab the ether energy and half buried in the mud. So it's this very similar picture that we see of the old world. And the picture is, it's all a story. His story, not our story. Here again in the foreground, we get these, people who look like the rulers, those who wish to rule us, deletes, those types. Someone's brought their dog. And then in the background, you get all the peasant types, right? This guy's not looking too happy. Oh, is he carrying someone? Don't know what's happening there. Another camel. Again, there were camels in China. Nice old world building with some antiquitech on the top. Now, this one, okay, it looks like the wall's just going straight into the water. So I'm not sure. It looks like a canal, not the ocean, or could be the ocean. It's just on a point, maybe. But yeah, you can see this wall goes straight in. So this has been flooded a bit more, because normally there's a wall and then you get outside and they have their docks and that. But who knows? Maybe this is a dock. Maybe it was built right on the water. But I mean, look at the size of this place. This is Guangzhou, or Hanchu, and it's huge. Completely built out. 1670, guys. Completely walled city and completely built out. Look at it. It's just row upon row and done well. It's not higgledy-piggledy like people have just turned up and built their little wooden hut. This is all big 2-3 story masonry construction. And even going up the hill, of course, you got to have the hill. Got to have the hill. Now we are in Hitsui. So again, these are all in China, all in 1670. And as you can see, the whole place is the same. It's all built out with the same type of construction, same walls, the same pagodas, all with their coils on the top. This one, they've put an eagle up there as well. So this must be, after they've been taken over. And just this mud flow outside the front of these walls. Is that why they're all walled? Maybe because they knew there was mud flows coming. And everything outside gets buried, right? Look at them all. They're all buried. And again, no docks or anything. They've built some stairs here down to the water, but no, proper, docking facilities, industrial facilities. Again, we're in China. And what do we have here? But a couple of obelisks. And this one's even got a ball on the top, which may or may not contain mercury. And here we have, what are they doing? worshipping the ground, having a game, just the villagers, and this is how they're filling up their boats. So again, there's no dock here. They just like throwing it on from the shore. And this dude's got a cool hat. Now this is Nangan or Nagan. Again, big junks, but where are they going to dock? Now this is the same that we've just seen, like with the wall going into the water, like straight in. So I'm not sure if it was built that way or if it's been flooded, but of course, that's what we see in Venice, right? Buildings literally go 3-4 stories under the water level. So again, it's just all the same stuff. All across the realm, all the same stuff. Now this is Guangzhou again, or Kanchu. And again, see, here's this coil. Right, definitely coils on all of them. And then maybe a ball, but something on the top there. And the pagodas look very antiquitech-y. This one, they're not drawn, but a lot of the time you see these chains coming off these bits here, which of course chains are metal. And then we have, it's clearly, the Chinese style with the roofs like this, but underneath it's all the same construction, the same walls here, the same walled cities. It'd be the same red brick and stone and all this kind of stuff. Antiquitech, all the same right across the realm. But, again, they're just sitting on the mud in the shore. Like all these boats everywhere, but no docking facility. Oh, actually, look, this one, it's not really a docking facility. I think they just got lucky with the water level, but, it's the best one we've seen so far. Nanchang again. And, I mean, look at the size of this boat. This is huge. Nice, all covered in. But where's it going to dock? Again, see, they're all just pulled up on the beach, all these boats. Doesn't make sense. 2 different types of tech going on here. Again, walled city, pagoda, coil. I mean, come on, look at that. And here you can see this one, you can see the cables coming down from the Antiquitech down to here. And like I said, in other ones, you see them actually come the whole way down, but who knows, it may be connected up to something that goes down the middle. But basically, that's the way they're transferring the energy through metal, through cables. Okay, this one they're calling Jian up here, but up here it's called Kinangum. Quite a conundrum. Again, it's just the same everywhere. And of course, how many cities have we looked at? How much construction has gone on, and it's already all built and built and then flooded out and half destroyed by 1670. But they tell us, that the level of tech we had back then wasn't enough to build all this construction, and the populations they give us as well. You can see this one, it's all flooded. We've got big, gatehouses and things, but it's just mud flow everywhere, right? Again, no dock facilities or anything like that for all their boats. And we've got the Antiquitech with a massive coil. Look at the size of that coil, man. And these walls, they're the same everywhere. So there wasn't just one Great Wall of China. There were many. Great Walled Cities of China is what it is. This is Hukao or Hukon, Hukao. Same thing, flooded out. Bits of buildings sticking out the top of these mud-flowed hills. There's another one there. Walled city and mud flow down to the water. No docking facilities and people with no tech wandering around. They got their parasols, their sun umbrellas, and that's about it. But look at all this tech that they've found, all this pre-built out city. I'm not sure what's going on here. It's quite a hill. And is that a cliff? I do not know. And back at Zhangshu, I think we've seen this city before. Just a different angle, Kiangsi. And again, right, Antiquitech on these pagoda towers, walled cities, mud flooded buildings everywhere, right down to the water. And then no docking facilities. Again, look, they're just all pulling up on the beach. Lots of boats though, right? I wonder if that's because there was a flood or something. People needed to escape on boats, or if they're restocking. But I mean, look, these are all boats down here too. There's lots and lots of boats in China in the 1600s. This is Wanam or Vanam. Vanam. Oh, this place looks like it got hit. So again, big walled city. Same stuff there, but look at the front here. We've got destroyed buildings, which shows you that these are brick buildings. So everything behind here, even though we've got these fancy roofs and things and the different style, it's still red brick buildings, with arched doorways and the same basic blueprint, shall we say. But look, and they've built some wooden stairs down here, so that's their little thing they've built for a dock. Doesn't match at all what's in the background. Look at this, a big smash out of the wall here. And just some destroyed buildings at the front. And they're just using their camels and again, just pulling their boats up on the beach. And now we are in, this is called, let's be calling it Futso or Fochu, maybe? Suburbs. Oh. Okay, so this is quite a big city. You can see, look at the size of this wall. It goes right up here and down here. Huge bridge over here, which is what you would expect. This looks like a proper masonry bridge, and that's a big bridge too. So that's not, we don't normally see them. I guess if it was a flood or something, whatever, it would have taken out a lot of the bridges. But in the background, we just get this mud flow and nothing's level. Everything's sort of half buried. We get the tech here, a stick. This guy, has he got a star for a face? Got some livestock here. So you're sort of farmers, shepherd type people with no tech. This guy's got a donkey. And then down here, look how buried it is down here. Look at all this mud flow just burying all these houses everywhere and half burying them. And of course, this is the mud flood, right? This is where we get our mud flood buildings from. This is just before the cleanup. So as you can see, huge city in China, 1670s. This is Pouching, China. And again, this is a huge city. Of course, in the foreground, we have our, delete types. And then huge walled city. This one's got, is that a crack? No, that's a sail. But at the front, again, just this mud flow, right? And here we go, wooden bridge, right? Just some tree stumps and wood. It looks like they've built a little house on it, so it's not a bad effort. But it's not masonry. It's not like the rest of this walled city. Not the same level of tech. This is Nanping. Same stuff, just low tech. Farmers in the foreground. Got a nice row of boats there. Very well done. And a big walled city right on the water. And they're always right on the water, aren't they? You can see how important boats were and water was in these cities, right? That's how they were traveling. I mean, water's free travel, right? Free energy. Just got to use the current. This is, it's called Jianyang up here, but here it's called Canning Vale. So they just change the names. And again, low-tech people everywhere. Definitely, looking Chinese with their hats and clothes on. Very fancy wheels. This is sort of a half and half bridge, this one, isn't it? Brick pillars and wooden on the top, so they may have just redone the top. I'm not sure. Who knows? But in the background again, right? Antiquitech on the pagodas, on the towers, masonry everywhere, walled cities. And then in the front, just mud flow, half buried buildings, no dock facilities. Same old story. And this is Canton. So one of the major cities. And again, you can see this place was huge, all walled. You can see this wall goes the whole way along, you know, a lot of big boats. And again, doesn't look like they got any kind of docking facilities for them. So just, yeah, bring your stuff and just pull up on the beach. In the front, we've got all these houses. And you can see there is mud flow here, mud floodage. And then behind the wall, I'm not sure what's, oh, okay, they are roof. Wow, they're all roofs. So all of that, he's trying to show us how many houses are in this city. Like all these are roofs. So this place is massive. And look at the size. I mean, so imagine how big this building must be. So that's, you know, no doubt they're the Chinese equivalent of a cathedral, you know, these massively oversized buildings. Some more here, and of course the towers. I mean, that looking like it's got nothing at all to do with China or Asia. This one obviously does, is the pagoda. We've got double walls here, so we've got an inner city and an outer city, and of course up on the hills we've got half buried buildings, as we always see. Same old, same old. So there you go, guys, a bit of a wander through Chinese Tartary in 1670. And again, these guys, what do you reckon? Looking more like a Franciscan monk, right? But not looking too Chinese. His clothes are. The same with her. Looking a bit more European. Maybe with red hair, who knows? And this is just a last picture just to show you the size of Canton. So this is what we were looking at before with all the roofs. These are all the houses. And look how it's set out. Perfectly set out in a grid. You can see the massive oversized buildings are put in here, the towers. Looks like they got a bit of parkland up the end here, but look at the amount of houses. Big, massive walled city in China, 1670. So there you go, guys. I hope you enjoyed that one. A walk through Chinese Tartary in 1670. So please don't forget to give me a like, give me a comment. What do you think? What do you think happened? When was the reset? Who took over? What's going on here? What is our story? Let me know. And of course, please share this video around, help get it out there. Give me a like as well to help the algorithm and to get this video promoted to more people. And of course, stay awesome, and I'll talk to you all on the next upload. Bye for now.